Lesson 7, 10 tactics to stop, control or diffuse a workplace bully. Hi, my name's DrFlis and welcome to my mini module, How to Quickly Recognise and Control a Workplace Bully Without Getting Victimised. This lesson is also about teaching you about how to use your personal power. Your personal power is when you consciously decide to make a choice about how you will react to a situation or an issue. Personal power is based or relies on your personal values. And at work, this could mean your workplace values. So for instance, one of your workplace values could be, I value working in an ethical and respectful workplace. Your workplace values help you decide on your personal boundaries. So this is how it comes out. One of my boundaries is to speak up if someone talks over me in meetings. And that boundary comes from I value working in a respectful work environment. So your personal power is about recognising when your personal work values and boundaries have been crossed. It also means to step up and respectfully and confidently reassert your boundaries. This lesson gives you the tools to step up in a highly professional, calm and controlled manner. Your values literally influence your belief system, your actions, decisions, conduct and behaviour every day of your life. Personal power is also self-knowledge and self-awareness, to know what you will and will not accept. What you will learn from this lesson is how to use your personal power to stop, control or diffuse the impact of a workplace bully using 10 tactics. First of all, recognise that what you're doing is not wrong, that what the bully is doing is inappropriate and, in fact, could be unethical. Again, you are not the person who's in the wrong. Even if you've made a mistake, you're human, and all humans, we all make mistakes. In fact, making mistakes is how we learn, how we innovate, and how we create. So even if you've made a mistake, that does not entitle someone to bully you. I'll say that again because it's really important. Making a mistake doesn't entitle someone to disrespect or bully you, embarrass you or hurt you. So the big picture, from a personal power perspective, the big picture is if you allow a bully to get away with this behaviour at work, that is, they're bullying you and others, it's going to eventually impact on your workplace. It's going to impact your employer, the reputation of the company or department, and it's going to stop productivity and performance. That's a really big picture. So we go back down into the personal picture. You need to be aware that all the research that I've looked into and read in my PhD consistently said this. Without intervention, workplace violence will always escalate. It will always escalate without interruption. If you let a bully to get away with this behaviour, it will only get worse. It will start to affect your mental health, well-being, happiness and job satisfaction. Use this knowledge to strengthen your resolve to use your personal power. And we're going to go into now how to use your personal power. Tactic 1, ground yourself. Now, this sounds like a really easy and simple tactic, but it's surprisingly powerful. So use it and practice it. You have to practice it. So irrespective of whether or not you're on the phone or face-to-face with the bully, immediately stand up and take a quiet, deep breath. Open your lungs and mentally prepare yourself. So stand tall, your shoulders are back and allow your lungs to open and access more air. Your stance is balanced and strong. Your face is relaxed. You are calmly and confidently looking the bully in the eye. Or if you're on the phone, you pretend to be looking the bully in the eye. Visualise your feet connecting to this huge, powerful source of power that's the centre of the earth, and centre and ground yourself using this visualisation. You can do this. Tactic 2, remain calm yet assertive. Again, practice using this in any stressful situation at work or at home. It's really about switching on your consciousness. The bully is doing their best to off-balance you, as we've discussed before in previous lessons, and they're probably trying to accuse you of making a mistake or doing something that you probably have no knowledge of. The whole point is to put you off balance and make you feel that you've done something wrong. So remain professional and cool and calm and yet assertive. The whole point is to keep your tone impersonal and show that you're not intimidated by the bully's behaviour. You are in charge of what you're saying and how you say it. Remain calm. Remaining calm signals to the bully that you are not thrown by their tactics. So, for instance, you could look the bully in the eye or on the phone, pretend that you're looking the bully in the eye on the phone, and calmly say, "What are you trying to say?" Or you could assertively say, "Would you repeat that, please?" Or you could incredulously say, "Pardon?" Or you could politely say, "Who asked you?" Or you could very coolly say, "What exactly is that supposed to mean?" Tactic 3, assert your boundaries. So we've talked about that a little bit, but now we're going to show you how to actually do that. A bully will attempt to off-balance you by suddenly criticising you for something that you have no knowledge of. That's quite consistent. Anyone that comes up and tries to accuse you of something and you have absolutely no knowledge about what they're talking about and they don't put it into context, be very wary of. They're trying to off-balance you. They're trying to get you to make you feel that you're at fault for something. So this is task-related bullying. Person-related bullying is usually an attack on something about you that you can't change, so like your hair, your gender, your age. That's person-related. So the bully is attempting, as I said, to use their aggression to off-balance and to control you. Recognise that the bully has crossed one of your values and work boundaries, for instance, respect, and your boundary of being listened to when you're talking. Draw the line and take back control now. Look the bully in the eye and quietly and firmly say, "No, that this is what we'll do instead," and go on. More snappy way of telling the bully to get back into their box and mind their own business is, "Who rattled your chain?" That can be sort of said with a bit of a smirk. You can say this next one politely yet assertively, because this is about stopping the bully from interrupting you and trying to control, for instance, a meeting. "Hold that thought, I'll get back to you in a moment." That's a really good one. Tactic 4, call it, where you call the behaviour. The bully is not expecting you to do this. If you can do this really well, and you need to practice it, you're really going to be very, very powerful at reasserting your personal power and controlling them. And you don't have to call them and say that they're a bully. This is just so much better. It demonstrates that you're not afraid to call them. And you, as I say, you don't have to say that you're bullying me. This is, as soon as you say something like that, they could easily turn it back on you and accuse you of bullying them. So try to avoid that. What you want to do is push the responsibility for a response back on them and show the bully that you can think quickly on your feet. That's the whole point. So you're pushing it back on them. Coolly look the bully in the eye and say in your most professional, assertive voice, "This is a surprise," or "What do you mean?" or "What exactly are you accusing me of?" Or if they're trying to suggest they've got proof of your, some sort of allegation or, that you've made a mistake, "Where's the evidence? Explain yourself. Send me proof of your allegations, and if you can't or refuse to, then I know that your claims are unfounded." Or you could simply say, "I'm busy right now, and I'll be with you in a minute." Then go back to work. So that's a good one if they're trying to interrupt you. So calling it can also mean that if you're a manager or a supervisor, you may need to actually call a behaviour of either a colleague or a staff member. as soon as you see this behaviour, you do need to call it as quickly as you can, so that there's very little time difference between the actual behaviour occurring and you actually going out and saying that behaviour is not appropriate in this workplace. So calmly again, look them in the eye and tell the person what you've observed, behaviours, give them accurate, clear feedback about their behaviours and the consequences of their actions. So modify this language, obviously, depending on your role. Clearly, this strategy only works if your workplace has a workplace culture of respect. So you just need to be careful of that. If you have a workplace culture that is basically aggressive and bullying, you may not want to use this particular example here. So just keep that in mind. So the scenario that we're going to work through is this. We're pretending that you're either a colleague or a supervisor. So in this case, you're taking Billy for task. Billy, can I have a quiet word, please? Thanks. Go to a quiet room or a quiet spot and calmly look the person in the eye. I just observed that you consistently talked over Jan and ridiculed her suggestions during this morning's meeting, which clearly embarrassed her because she got really embarrassed and blushed and went quiet. Pause. If we're going to get our work done here as a team, we simply don't have time for that sort of behaviour. As your manager, you need to know that in this workplace, it's critical that everyone in this team can fully participate and collaborate with each other. And that means everyone in this team is shown respect. One of the ways that we do this around here is that we listen to each other without interrupting or ridiculing each other's input. This means I don't want to see a repetition of the behaviour I saw at this morning's meeting. So then you wait for Billy to indicate that they'll comply, and they may bluster. And if they bluster, just repeat the last point. Tactic 5, pivot. So the bully's tactic is an attempt to use shock tactics, as I said, to embarrass or humiliate you. So you become confused and back away and they've got control over you. You're handing over their power. But instead, calmly look them in the eye again and professionally and confidently ask the bully, how does your behaviour help us deliver this project? So see, you're pivoting, you're pushing it again back on them. How does this help us? How is this helpful? How is your behaviour helpful? Push it back on them. Was that suggestion supposed to be helpful? How? Ask the bully, what are you trying to suggest? Or get them to explain themselves. Say, explain yourself. The next slide provides some examples of this. If the bully is using a tactic that, for instance, stops you getting your work done, calmly look them in the eye and professionally say, given our agency's mission is X, can you please explain, or just can you explain, how your tactic is helpful in this situation? And if they bluster, just say, pardon, or really, or what was that? Put it back on them. Or you could try saying something along the lines of, that's a very uncooperative suggestion and is exactly what our boss tells us not to do. Or you could say simply, that's not a very cooperative suggestion. Or you could say, tell me exactly how is that going to help resolve that project or that issue. Tactic 7, show them up. If the bully is constantly talking over you and interrupting you, stop what you're saying, look the bully in the eye and coolly and professionally say, before I was interrupted, I was saying, and go on. Or reiterate using your boundaries. And what I mean by that is, as I said, for instance, your value is to work in a respectful work environment, and therefore your boundary is to be listened to without interruption. So you actually say that, and this is how. I value working in a collaborative work environment where everyone's views are heard without interruption. Does that suit everyone here? Continue to stop and say this type of thing in a calm, professional voice, because it'll take a while for the bully to get the fact that you're going to call them, and keep calling them until they stop. So you need to continue showing them up and saying, by using these techniques, you're basically saying, I'm showing you up for what you're doing. I'm showing your behaviour up. I'm not letting you get away with this behaviour. I'm calling it. Tactic 8, calmly interrupt their bluster. So this tactic has been consistent in this, these lessons, however, it's still worth pointing out. In a setting of your choice, you go up to the bully, look them in the eye, and calmly and assertively say in an even tone of voice, you need to stop being rude to my face in front of our clients. Or, you need to stop spreading rumours about me to our co-workers. Or, you need to stop embarrassing me in front of my clients or staff. At this point, the bully will likely bluster and accuse you of being in the wrong because that's their tactic. The bully may even say to you, you know, something along the lines, this is quite consistent, oh, you just can't take a joke, or, you know, I'm only telling you the truth as I see it because they're so much more important than you are. Not. Assertively yet calmly interrupt the bluster and just take back your control and say, no, that's incorrect and we both know what you've been saying is wrong. Or, no, that's wrong. We both know what you've been saying about me is incorrect. And if they continue to bluster, just reassert yourself, say it one more time and calmly walk away. Practice this technique again. Practice, practice, practice. So it just rolls off your tongue, you know, you get used to it. Tactic 9, confuse them. This is one of the most powerful tactics you can use because it really puts the bully back into their little corner. It's nice and snappy as well. All you need to say is, you need to let me do my job and trust me to complete this task. So, why is this so powerful? It's because you've called them out again. You've actually stood up and said, you're bullying me without actually saying you're bullying me. It's going to confuse the bully because you're saying that you've got a job to do and that they're stopping you being able to do your job, and that's not what they're expecting. They're expecting you just to be covered in confusion and guilt because of something that they're accusing you of, as opposed to saying, this is my task, you know, get out of my face and let me do it. They may bluster or retreat. And if they retreat, for instance, to their office or their desk, they'll probably hope that by sort of retreating and sulking that you're going to come back up to them and say, oh, sorry, you know, it was my fault. So don't do that. Your response could be in that particular situation where they're blustering, for instance, is, no, I'm not wrong. I have a job to do. Trust me to do it. So, yeah, look steadily at the bully and after a few moments, calmly look away. Tactic 10, use clinical analysis to repudiate their claims. So this is really an incredibly useful tool or tactic if you've got a bully or cyber bully who's trying to discredit you via email or any other official online communication at work. So it's incredibly important, certainly for those people working in Australia. I don't know about other countries, but we have something called the Freedom of Information Act, which means that any information that's written down in any workplace format, so whether it be handwritten notes or emails or anything online, videos and the rest of it, that can be used to respond to freedom of information requests. And that means it's incredibly important that if someone is trying to discredit you, you need to be able to refute those claims clearly and confidently and in a very clinical manner within the same communication format that they're using. So, for instance, if you receive a bundle of emails from, let's say, a colleague accusing you of being incompetent, you need to, once you calm down, you need to sit down and calmly refute each of those claims. You're not asking them to agree with you. You're simply providing the facts as to what's going on and what's actually factually occurring, so that you've got an official trail of that supports your claims. It's just incredibly important from a legal perspective, if nothing else. So you must assert yourself and set the record straight. So as I said, If they're sending, a bully is sending you an email with claims, or whether it be even text messaging or some other social media channel, and they're, for instance, and this is quite common, they're CCing other people into their emails and whatnot to embarrass you. Once you've calmed down, you need to write your response to each of those claims in a very factual, and I said clinical way. So it's very concise, very calm, clinical, and highly professional. Remove any emotional tone from your response. You're seeking to repudiate each of the claims. You're not seeking to escalate anything. You're just seeking to place the information as you see it down. And as I said before, you're not seeking anyone's affirmation. You're just saying this is the way it is. You need to set that record straight on text. And make sure that when you respond to the bully that you CC, even if they haven't CC'd people into the email, make sure that you CC a key number of people that in your team that need to see what's going on and how you're responding, so that it's clear what's going on. And make sure that you print out and keep hard copies of all that correspondence, because that's your evidence in case the bully starts to escalate things around you. So please take a moment to consider this lesson. I hope it's been really useful for you. And think about this question, which is, what tactic or mix of tactics could help me to stop, control, or diffuse a bully in my workplace? And as I said, I think the first lesson, I've developed an eCourse called Controlling Workplace Confrontations, which gives you highly personalised tactics and tools to help you identify, control, and diffuse negative workplace behaviours before it becomes bullying, so that you can actually control and diffuse things before it becomes too toxic. And this gives you immense power, because you actually start to see what's going on not only with the people around you but also within your workplace. So feel free to sign up to that and let me know how you go. You can find it at DrFlis.com/collections. And let me know how you go with this and what else I can provide you. Drop me a line and a respectful email if you want to email me at team@DrFlis.com. Thank you.